Simply put, Coach Hansen wants to have more attackers than there are blockers to defend the offense. If you have 3 hitters against 3 blockers, the defense has a good chance at defending the attack. If you place 4 or 5 attackers against 3 blockers, the odds definitely go with the offense. As you can see by the stop action pictures, the OSU offense has a minimum of 4, but when the setter's in the front row, 5 attackers going against 3 blockers. There's more sophistication to the offense than just having more attackers than the defense has blockers. The OSU offense works on 2 concepts. One is overload, and the other is isolate. First, overload. When you overload, you are placing multiple attackers in a small area of the net, forcing the blockers to make choices as to which hitter to focus on. As you see in this still frame, the middle hitter is running a 31, and that forces the right front blocker into a decision-making mode. Do I stay in with the 31, or do I release out and block number 23, who will be attacking at the left front antenna? So if he stays in the 31, he risks being late on the ball being attacked at the left front antenna. If he releases early, then the middle hitter is hitting against just one blocker on the 31. So in essence, they are overloading a small area of the court with multiple attackers. So this is the overload principle. So let's look at the overload principle in live action. Notice how the right front blocker stays in and helps with the 31, and then has a hard time getting back to the outside to stop the left front attack. And the result is a poorly formed block and a resulting kill for the offensive player. The second concept employed by the OSU men is that of isolation. And what you see here is the middle blocker is moving out in an effort to block the 31 or defend the 31, and it's isolating the left front blocker. So the left front blocker is going to be pretty much by himself if the ball is back set. So when we isolate, we move the middle blocker away from what we want the point of attack to be. As soon as that movement is made, the ball is reversed. And now, as you can see, the left front blocker is pretty much by himself, with the middle being very late. So to isolate means you move your middle blocker away and then force that middle blocker to move the longest distance. The key to the OSU offense is the establishment of the 31 set, because this forces the middle blocker to decide, am I going to move out with the 31 and defend that, or keep the court balanced and defend both antennas? And that's quite the dilemma. So as you can see in this still frame, the OSU offense can use overload to set over the 31 to the left front, or they can isolate with a set behind the setter versus the left front blocker. So the middle blocker is in a dilemma as in terms of what do I defend. The OSU setter then makes a choice. If he feels the middle blocker is not defending the 31, he'll set that set. If he feels the middle blocker or the right front blocker are pinched in to defend that set, he'll go over the top to the left front, or he'll isolate behind to the right front attacker. So the middle blocker has a lot of pressure relative to what attacker do I defend. So as this play unfolds, you see the right front leaves a little bit early and creates a seam in the block and then a successful attack. Same situation for the opposite side of the net, and you can see the middle blocker has a focus on the right side attack, so he really doesn't get out on the 31 attacker. Setter makes a great choice, big seam in the block, and again, a successful attack. Once you've established a 31, now it becomes a focus of the block. We set over the top, we have an overload, poorly formed block, successful kill. Ultimately, the goal of the Ohio State offense is to create and then attack seams in the block. So as you see in this still picture, that there's seams between the right front blocker and the antenna, left front blocker and the antenna, and then there's seams between the blockers. Now it's up to the setter to make an appropriate choice in terms of where inside of those seams we can successfully attack. In this situation, the setter chooses to set the middle back player, hitting a bick, and they get a good swing. As you can see here, the middle blocker is fronting the 31. They isolate behind, and they get a good swing out of the back row. So the setter doesn't care if it's a front row or back row attacker. as long as they're attacking gaps and getting good solid approaches. This is an example of a poorly formed block where both outside blockers are leaving early. Really nobody is blocking the 31 attacker, so there's huge seams in this block, which makes it very difficult for the back row to defend. And as you can see, the result being a positive swing out of it with the center back attacker hitting a bick. So to summarize, the OSU offense is obviously very difficult to defend. They use both front row and back row attackers effectively to attack the seams in the block that are created by using the principles of overload and isolate to free up the attackers. Of course, you have to have quality first touches to be in system the majority of the time, and then have a setter that makes appropriate choices based upon the movements of the block.